Alrighty, let's take a look at this question. So it says a student parking pass costs $20. At this price, 150 students will purchase the passes. For every $5 increase in price, 20 fewer students will purchase passes. What is the price of a parking pass that will maximize, important word there, the revenue? And what is the maximum revenue? Okay, so when you hear the word max or min, there is a way to do this with calculus as well, but for this one, we're at the 20-1 level. So first thing you want to do is write down your main equation, which is revenue. And revenue, the amount of money you bring in from an adventure, is based on the price you charge times the quantity of how many things you sell. So in this case, price obviously will be the price of the parking pass, and quantity would be how many students purchase these passes. So now we write this as R equals, and the first set of brackets will represent price. And then the second set of brackets is going to be our expression to represent quantity. And in the first position of each brackets, you put the original situation. So original price and original quantity before any changes was $20 for original price and 150 students purchasing the passes, so that's the original quantity. All right, then it says for every $5 increase in price, so in the price brackets we go plus 5. Now, we could increase the price by $5 or $10 or, whatever. So that's the part that varies. So we're going to put an X with that 5. And then the number of students, 20 fewer students. So minus 20 goes in the quantity expression. And again, that would change according to how the price changes. So we'd also need an X with that 20. All right, so we're looking pretty good here. That is our equation. It is in terms of one variable. It just needs to be in vertex form now for us to figure out what the maximum revenue is. So what we first need to do is expand this binomial, or expand these two binomials. So 20 times 150 is going to be, let's see, 30, and then 2 more zeros. Okay, outside would be negative 4, 0, 0, bear with me, I don't have a calculator, and then plus, this would be 750x, and then finally the last terms multiplied together would be negative 100x squared. All right, rearrange the order so it's in general form before we begin completing the square to get it into vertex form. So negative 100x squared comes first. Negative 400 plus 750 is going to be plus 350x, and then finally plus 3,000. All right, so we are now in general form. So we are going to now commence with completing the square to get it into vertex form. So first thing, we do not want a number in front of x squared, so we're going to factor out negative 100 from both the terms that have x. So we'd be left with inside the brackets x squared and then minus 3.5x. Lovely. And then leave a little room and then plus 3,000 on the outside. And now to get that missing number right there, so that when we factor this, we get a perfect square binomial, we would take negative 3.5 divided by 2 and then square it. And we get kind of an ugly decimal. I'm getting 3.0625. It does end and terminate, so we could write that in there, or we could use the fraction. And I think I might use the fraction, so it would be plus 49 over 16. And then as soon as you add that number, you have to take it away because we've got to keep this equation in balance. So minus 49 over 16 outside the brackets times, now that number we just added is actually inside brackets with negative 100 multiplied by it, so you have to multiply this one that we subtract by negative 100 as well. All right, now final step, we factor our trinomial, and the shortcut is you take the square root of the first term, x squared would just be x. You take the sign of the middle term, so minus, and then you square root the last term, which would give you 7 over 4, square root of 49 over 16. Write the square on the outside because we just factored it into two binomials that were the same. And then put the rest of that in your calculator. And you get, well, since this is money, I think I'm going to write it as a decimal now. So plus 3306.25. And come to think of it, let's write that 7 over 4 now as a decimal too. So that would be 1.75. There we go. Okay, most importantly, once you get it in vertex form, which we now have, you want to write down what your vertex is. So it'd be positive 1.75, opposite of what you see inside there. And then 3306.25 would be your y-coordinate of the vertex. Now, you want to write the letters that correspond with those. So x is one of the letters in the equation. That would go with the 1.75. And the only other letter is R, so that means your 3306.25 is R. So, to answer the question now, what is the price? Now remember up above there, price was our expression 20 plus 5x. So this here. And then because we know x now, we can just replace x in that expression with 1.75, and you get 28.75 as the price of the new ticket. Now, our maximum revenue, we already have really. That's the second question they asked, and that is our R here. So our maximum revenue would be $3,306.25. And there we go. That is how you do that. And hope that helped.